the Light Within, where we explore how to access the wisdom and intelligence from within us to enhance health and well-being from the inside out. My name is Afua from Renewed Spirit Life, and today my guest is Susan Rivest. So Susan is an energy intuitive, sound practitioner, and natural healer through source energy. Over 20 years, she's trained in various modalities, including body talk, theta healing, Reiki, therapeutic touch, shamanic journeying, reconnective healing, and sound healing. Susan uses various techniques to help people transform stuck energies in areas of health, relationship, spiritual, and emotional well-being. She also assists in connecting with loved ones who've passed over through a process called the Sanctuary of Light. So that's what the bio says, but in my personal words, Susan is a magical angel, and she has been such a blessing with her gifts and just her energy in general for myself personally and for my family. So I'm so happy to have her here today. So welcome.
Thank you, Afua, for inviting me to your home and onto your land. It's an honor to come to this place, and all of the physical animals and all the spirit animals and all of the energies here on the land. So I'm really honored to be invited in and to share what I know.
Thank you. You're so welcome. So today Susan is going to talk to us about a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but specifically a process called the Land of Limitless Possibilities. And we're going to talk about sound healing, maybe get a better understanding of what all of that is, and get a little mini sound treatment. Is that right?
For sure.
So please, just for starters, tell us all about the Land of Possibilities, sound healing. How can we use these processes to get that wisdom from the inside out to enhance our lives?
So, because, and I'm sure everyone knows, that we are all made of energy. Everything on this earth is made of energy, and we can connect into absolutely everything and everyone that is here on earth, whether we acknowledge that or not. And the Land of Limitless Possibilities is a process that I've developed through, actually, I was in a meditation many years ago. I don't even remember how many years ago. And I saw a crystalline grid that was around the earth. And I didn't understand what that was. However, when I kind of zeroed in and looked closer at this crystalline grid, I saw that there were lights on the corner where the grid intersects.
Okay.
And those lights were actually human beings. And when that human being connected within the light within themselves, the grid that went horizontally or vertically or from either side of the person, when they lit up, those grids lit up to the next grid corner, to the next human being. And that's one of the ways that we share our own wisdom and our own connection to the Creator.
So basically, as we connect to the light within us, we are literally empowering other people with light. We're literally all kind of raising or getting more in touch with the divine together. Is that?
Absolutely. And so from that, I thought, okay, I'm drawn to go and see what else this is, this grid. Really, what is this? So just through a process of however people connect in with divine source, source energy, God, whatever, I went in and I saw the crystalline grid, and it was actually made of crystals.
Okay.
And I walked down it, and then I saw an infinite number of doors on either side of the grid. And I realized, oh, I wonder what would happen if I opened a door that was connected to something that I wanted to find out about.
Okay.
And from there, it was just, the possibilities were just phenomenal. Whatever I want to visit or look into, or if I have more questions, you go through the process that I walk through people through, and you open the door and you go in there and you find out what's in there. And that's another way of connecting in with your imagination, which is energy, really. You connect in with your imagination. You can pretend.
Yeah.
But really, the energy is there. And you get to see what the walls might be made of, if there's light in there, if there's a person in there. It's whatever your awareness is that you would like to explore. So I actually don't tap into the intention of something anymore. I tap into the awareness of what I would like to know more about. So that opens up the space or the possibilities of getting more information. Because I feel personally that intentions are a bit putting yourself in a box. So it's just opening up the space of awareness of whatever it is I want to have more information on.
So you've said a lot. So I just wanna make sure I'm following. So basically, the Land of Possibilities is a process, like a journey that you guide people through.
Yes.
And it starts with a question. Is that right? Like,
yes.
A person they have a question they want to explore. So like, can this be anything that they can?
It can be an emotional issue that you might be struggling with. It could be abundance.
Yeah.
It could be health.
Yeah. So pretty much anything. Like you can,
absolutely,
whatever you want to explore. So then you guide, so you got that kind of question, and then you go through the journey. And you mentioned about imagination and pretending and energy. So can we go into that a little bit? Like because sometimes I tell people in my sessions and stuff, I say, just use your imagination. You don't have to be so serious about it or feel like it's so rigid. Like, just use your imagination. But I think what people don't necessarily realize is that our imagination is real and it's very powerful. It can be very, how would you just please enlighten us on this a little bit more?
There's been so many inner journeys that I've taken within the land, and one of them was to find out more information about my birth father. And I didn't really know what I wanted to know, but it was connected to my birth father and or ancestors. So I actually ended up going through the process, and it's a very simple process once I teach someone how to do it. And it can be quick as within 5 minutes you're within this land. And I was shown that I actually needed to go to the time that my birth father left me, abandoned me. And I needed to sit with that energy or that memory of how I felt abandoned. And when I did that, I actually ended up, to me, was just so profound, I ended up diving into a huge black hole, and I swam through the ocean, and I came out on the other side through a cave, and there was just so much more sunshine and a level of peace that I had with that memory about my father. And that settled an awful lot of questions within me. However, I know, excuse me, I know that there's more questions for me to ask. So you can go anywhere with this.
And so, it's using your imagination, like, like you said, going into a black hole and going out the ocean, but at the same time, there's the energy and like our subconscious and the energy, our energy field is going through this kind of transformation.
Yes.
Even though it's just in our imagination, it's more than that. We're allowing our mind to kind of go through that process.
Bring up the memory of something that's stuck in your world.
Right.
And you get to face it or look at it, and it's a place of safety.
Right.
It really is a place of safety. And I know that the energy within the land, I call it the sacred land because recently I went onto my land and the actual ground changed. It wasn't a crystal grid. There was actually grass growing there. So how much am I creating in my world that's growing? It's changing everything. There was actually a point where I was shown to the east where I could go and look if I wanted to connect with my life mate, a romantic partner.
Okay.
With horses. And I looked at it and I went, oh, that's interesting. However, it's something, I'm going to be honest here, I'm not quite ready to go there. However, there's a possibility I can go there, and through the energy work, it was what we all do, I can bring that into my world on a physical level.
Right.
There's just so many possibilities.
Because we're not just the physical, we're on so many different levels of dimension, so we can change what's going on in the physical by doing this like real inner work.
Yes, it is inner work, it really is.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I also wanted to share that when I assist people through this process, I also get them to connect in with their soul. Their soul, everyone has a soul, whether you want to say you have one or not. And when we connect in with our soul on a daily basis, because our soul is just one step down from our connection to the divine source energy, whatever, and our soul has a much broader perspective than we do on a personality level.
Right.
And when you connect in with your soul guides you through each day. And if you want to take that on a deeper or higher level, that's where you connect up to divine source energy, God, whatever. I mean, again, there's so many ways to connect inside with you to find out how your world's working or not working.
Right. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, that when we take that time to go to the level of the soul, like you said, there's a totally different perspective.
Yes, absolutely.
So things shift. Okay, now what about sound healing? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, sound. Many years ago, I made my own drum, and interestingly, I was going to bring my drum today. Approximately a year ago, I just knew that there was something wrong with my drum, and I noticed on the edge of it, it was cracked. The hide was actually cracked. So I knew that I couldn't use it, and it's because my apartment is really quite hot.
Ah, okay, it's drying it out.
Perhaps that's one of the factors. So I offered it to a lady who took it and had she had repaired it.
Yep.
And she took it into a sweat and she had it blessed. And I thought, well, it should be good. Should be absolutely good. And I was actually going to bring it today, and I looked at it again, and it's cracked again. So I need to, obviously the drum didn't want to be here today. So I'm going to ask someone who actually made me a rattle. And I'll ask him if he would take on the responsibility of repairing my drum, or do I need to replace it?
Yeah,
So we're so connected to everything, and what is the energy behind my not having a drum that I can actually use in my practice? There's another piece of energy.
right, because like the instruments you use, you have a personal connection with them.
Yeah, yes I do.
And that's how it brings that sacredness to what you're doing.
Yes.
Okay, so what are like you're gonna give us a little mini treatment or a little sound healing.
Sure.
What can you tell us about it so we're maybe in a more receptive place?
When several years ago I got the information that there was a diagnosis of cancer in my body. And I went to the human part of me, and I was frantic, I panicked, and I felt like I was hyperventilating.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought my world was over. I thought, I'm going to pass on, and I haven't done things, and what am I going to do? And then somewhere along the line, it occurred to me to reach out to a lady that I actually took a course with, was on sound healing.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked with her, and she said, for sure, we can do some sound healing. She said, however, I'm not able to have you come until after you have your surgery, just because she was booked up with other appointments. So the human part of me worked through that piece. It was a bit challenging to hold the space of the fact that I was going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through the surgery, and I then went for the session with this lady. She gave me 3 sessions. She said, that's all you require? She said, everything is going to be fine. In the first or the second session, I actually don't remember which one it was, she didn't give me any information of where I was going to go in my imagination of anything. She used the bowls, and she did some chanting, and I did go to the light. You hear people saying you're going to go to the light. Well, I did go to the light. However, as I was going up through this tunnel to the light, there was a red stop sign to my right, and I knew that I wasn't supposed to continue the journey of going to the other side. So I turned around, and I came back into my body, and I realized that sound can take you anywhere. It can bring you to the place of peace, or it can bring up some challenge for you, but it doesn't need to be terrifying. It doesn't need to be a place of unsafety, if that's such a word. I just thought I'd make that up. I have Susanisms. And sound, for me, feels like it goes deeper than words.
Mm.
It's like when I've used my drum, the drum to me is the heartbeat of the mother. And when you connect in with that beat, you go and you connect in to the essence of your mother, and that place of safety, and that place of security, of love, of nurturing. And so those are just a few of those energies or words that I bring into the sound healing, because today, in so many ways, we're dealing with so much panic and anxiety, and people not feeling safe because we don't know. There's so many things that are changing from day to day, sometimes hour to hour. And when you can connect in with your body, and that's what sound does, it helps you to settle, to start breathing slower, and to let your blood pressure lower. And you don't need to go into the fight or flight response or the adrenaline that there's so much of on this earth right now. And that's when you go into that space of the quiet, of listening to the body, because that's truly what we should be doing on this earth, is connecting in with our body, because we get so much information from our body and we ignore it.
Well, I just want to say a couple things about the one thing about, you said that, the sound is so much more powerful than the words. Like the sound is going deeper than the words. And I mean, I'm not an expert in it, but I've heard and read along the way that, English as a language is kind of one of, I don't want to say the worst language, but it's not as pure of a language, whereas some of the other languages and the way they use the sounds has such a more powerful effect and a more positive effect on the body than English does.
Yes.
And the other thing I wanted to say is about, like you said, listening to our bodies, because I find, I teach about how to, not get into everybody else's energy, right? So you're not taking on other people's stuff. And I'm, working on that in myself too. Like it's, you got to constantly I have to constantly be aware of where my energies are. But I find, that if I, before I go to bed or when I wake up in the morning, if I kind of, like I hear, I say I'm hearing the silence, which, how do you hear silence? I mean, it makes sense to me, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
It's like there's a subtle vibration that you can kind of tune into in your field. And I find that it's calming, and it feels like, there's no words to it, but there is communication in it.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. So it's the bowls are communicating in, or whatever. Yeah, there's lots of instruments you use.
Yes.
But they're communicating with our bodies.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So now, is it time to go into the
I would like to. Would you like to?
Yes. I'm ready.
Okay. So when I connect with someone on a physical level, they could come for an in-person appointment, or I can connect with them over the phone. One of the first pieces that I do is I open up the energy and or the space of the session, because it is a container of energy. And through that, I ask for the angels to hold the four corners of the land where we are. And we also ask to have the energies of our ancestors and the water beings and the plant beings and the crystal elders and the four-leggeds, which might be bear, might be horse, might be dog, might be cat, the winged ones, which are the birds, the creepy crawlers, and the energies of all of the directions and the energies of the land that we so often do not pay attention to. And one of the things that I did just before we started talking was I hit one of my bowls, and I could hear the sound, the waves of the sound going out to all the corners of this land. And it was like a rush of water, but very calm water. And so the land requires that sound, whatever combination we make. And one of the things that I think is important is the acknowledgement of our physical bodies, the touch that we often don't get. And if I'm not able to actually physically touch a body, I will use the rattle to signify that I'm touching the body and waking it up to the sounds. So, is there an energy you would like to bring in for this mini session? Whatever pops up.
When you say an energy, what do you mean by that?
What would you like to call into this session?
Well, I guess I would like to call in just strength of heart.
Okay.
Just one, I guess, hey?
Okay, that would be good.
Okay, just one.
Okay.
Let's do that heart.
So we're going to open up the space for the strength of the heart. And let's see what comes up.
Okay.
And if you want to share through at the end, if there's any information that came up.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
And so that ends the mini session, and we ask the angels who have held the four corners of the land, and the ancestors, and all of the other beings that came forward, all for our highest good, to take a step back, and we acknowledge them and we give thanks that they came to this space. And so it is. Hi, hi.
Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
Wow, I could feel my body moving a little bit involuntarily.
Yes.
And early on, I could feel the back of my heart, the area of the back of my heart kind of, I don't know, shift. And you had asked, and I assume that everybody who's watching can also just take this in at the moment of when they're listening to this,
Yes.
right? And take whatever they get from this.
Yes.
But you had asked if I got any messages. It said, or, I got the message, listen more of this, listen more, on the inside. And kind of coyote wolf, it was coyote and then wolf, kind of came up, and then there was the message to empower the light, trusting, and empower. By trusting, you're empowering the light to do, instead of worrying or thinking, I'm doing it on my own. That was the message, to trust, and when I'm trusting, that's empowering the light.
Could it be that we sometimes ignore the intelligence of the light?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then we're so small, but when we can, it's like it's all around us. It's all the access, it's just a matter of access, I guess, really.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of access and opening up, and then, yeah. So thank you.
And the message I got was kind of in the middle of the session. There was a lotus flower that opened up, which is actually the center of your land, is a lotus flower, and for you to connect in with that lotus flower to send out whatever energies or awarenesses that you would like to send out, and
I love that.
who knows what will come back.
I love that.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. All right. Now, I was wondering if you had any practical tips, like something that, somebody, they just were watching this, but is there just one thing you could maybe advise somebody, or a practical tip or tool that you could share with those watching?
Those beautiful people out there. There's so many of you. What I found through so many of the quote-unquote challenges that we have in this life are challenges that we make significant. We make them hard. However, when you step into and you trust that you are connected to Divine Source, to Source Energy, to God, whatever name you would like to give that which is creation, we are a spark of that. That light is within our heart. When you can connect in with that and trust that, sit 5 minutes a day. Start with 5 minutes a day. Take the time. Your body, your soul, your mind will be so grateful because you connect in with the spark of light that's within your heart. And that's where you can create your own world, your own reality. Find out what's not working, as I said before, and let it come up. because you've gotten to this point, you're here on Earth, because you're listening to this, and you've made it. And what if you could let go of making everything a challenge and everything significant and everything so hard?
Yeah. I love that. I love that a lot. Yeah, yeah. By making it, we can make the challenges harder than they need to be.
Yes.
That's a timely reminder. Susan, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So now, how can people access you and your work and getting some sessions? How can people get in touch with you?
You can find me on Facebook, and it is called Bodies and Beings, because number one, we have a body.
Right.
And I use the word being because we have a soul or a being which is infinite.
Right.
And so the two, when you connect the two, that's where your life becomes full of joy and happy. I'm also on Instagram under Susan Rivest.
Okay.
And I have a website which is up for now, which is www.susanrivest.com.
Okay.
And you can connect with me and we can go from there.
And I think there's also some free audio clips too.
Yes.
On there.
I forgot that.
So we're going to put the links in the description. So all of that will be in the description, so you'll be able to find Susan.
This has been an absolute pleasure. It's been fun and not as significant as I made it. Because we were talking about, I'm just so nervous. And I was bouncing off the walls energetically. And I kind of created that energy. Well, we let that go and we connected in with what we wanted to do, is to give the message that we can all connect in with our wisdom within and the light within, and empower everyone to do the same.
Exactly. Yes, thank you so much for being here, Susan. And thank you for watching, and I will see you next time on The Light Within.
Bye.